All right, we're recording now. All right, welcome back to SnakeFang podcast. I think it's episode 34. I'm losing time. I'm telling you, like so many episodes. But I'm your host, Logan James.
Very simple to figure that out.
And I'm with Greg Matthews.
Thanks, man. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that, Logan.
All right.
Happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, that's a great introduction. Yeah, amazing. So I wanted to start a new segment with you.
Okay.
This is going to be our new Sunday segment.
Alrighty.
We're going to have, so I got two new mics that are coming in. So we're going to have more people on this segment as well. But it's the nonsense news segment. It's just basically like the news from this past week, like whatever we found interesting or cool, and like just talk about it. And I mean, a lot of people nowadays aren't up to date with current events because there's so many things going on in life that it's hard to keep up to date. I mean,
yeah.
I always want to keep up to date, and I always am trying to look at news and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start this new segment, man, and I wanted to see if you had any news. I know. Let's just do the fucking thing that you want to talk about. The first, we'll get it out of the fucking way. To be all serious, the news in regards to North Korea and South Korea, and the meeting that they had this past week. You heard about that, right?
I heard about it, but I don't want to talk about that. That wasn't what I was wanting to talk about. I was going to bring up sports, but
oh, you're going to bring up sports?
You got really political, really
fast. Oh no,
that's which is usually my job.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just wanted to get that out of the fucking way. We'll just do a quick thing then here. Like, I mean, they just met this past week, and then I guess they are going to be implementing the denuclearization.
Yeah, a few weeks ago they announced that.
But they're going to be doing it. They announced that it's going to be this coming May.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm really optimistic about it. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, you have to be optimistic about things like this. There's no way that I see the skeptical side, and I see, like, a lot of people, like, in the media and a lot of other people, they're skeptical about it because, of course, like, it's a very touchy subject, and it's a very, like, it's North Korea, like, who knows? But, like, I'm going to be optimistic about it because that'll be beneficial to everyone. You know,
there's just a lot of stuff going on in the global economy right now that's really shaky, and to create stability, there's been a lot of talks between the United States and China, and, you know, China's the lifeline of North Korea.
Of course.
And so, you know, the U.S. has been threatening, you know, China and North Korea, obviously, for a long time now. And it's kind of finally gotten to a point where I think that North Korea is a little bit more focused on maintaining the ability to do the basic things that they need to do by, you know, giving up the nuclear program, and they'll still be able to hang on, and then hopefully China's still able to maintain a relationship with the United States where, you know, we're not going to have bans on trade and slowing down of trade and just causing a lot of issues on the global economy.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that in my industry and mortgages that kind of affects our interest rates is
nice plug, by the way.
Yeah, is well, it's because, like, this is something that we talk about in the office, so it's something that I can relate to. It is that when something like, you know, or in my dad's industry in forklifts, like, you know, the anticipation of steel tariffs and aluminum tariffs, like, coming into place is creating a price increase, and it hasn't even happened yet. It's just the anticipation that it could potentially happen. You know, just people being...
It's the speculation of things.
Yeah.
That's across every single market. I mean, at the end of the day, even in regards to just the basics.
Exactly. Nothing happens yet. There's just, like, a little bit of doubt out there, and then that causes drastic price increases or decreases. But it's like, nothing's even happened yet, and, you know, they're, you know, marking it up and this and that, and so it causes a lot of issues. But in the mortgage side, like, China's the number one purchaser of U.S. federal treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. So if the U.S. puts tariffs, then China's going to say, okay, well, we're not buying mortgage-backed securities. Like, it creates a whole kind of economic destabilization in the market between two of the world's largest superpowers. That's a big issue. So for them to be able to figure this out with North Korea, and I think North Korea is kind of, from a political standpoint, in the center of this entire mess and causing a lot of especially because of the media's attention to it, causing a lot of turmoil between the U.S. and China.
Yeah, of course.
Because we're against North Korea heavily, and China's the one that keeps them alive. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, hopefully with this, like I said, it'll benefit everyone at the end of the day, just like you're talking about. Like, I think that if they're able to come to an agreement, and even, I mean, it's not going to be tomorrow. Like, this shit's fucking, like, within 5 years, like, I could see, like, a lot of good things occurring from that. I mean, just, like, having them as a threat to us, like, there's a lot of military spending just towards that kind of initiative. I mean, we're always going to have military spending, but, I mean, geared just towards that initiative, that'll save us some money in that regard. So, I mean, that's a great thing that's happening at the moment. So, but that was a serious thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I wanted to get it away because I thought that's what you were going to fucking talk about. So I haven't
gotten into the whole North Korea thing all that much. I'll let President Trump tweet and take care of it for me. Oh,
God, yeah. Let's fucking
I care more about domestic policy, and then as far as foreign policy, I care about figuring out what's going on when we're putting in military action and innocent, quote unquote, we don't know, innocent people are being harmed either way by us or by other countries, and then we're trying to create a solution for that. That's what I care about in foreign policy. I care about the humanitarian aspect. With North Korea's nuclear system and the trade and all that, I'm not as
well, I
in tune with in general. I care more about like the Syria, the refugee problem going on, like things like that, like where, you know,
I just didn't want to have you.
This seems more like the North Korea thing seems more like strategy intelligence.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the intelligence. It's all about like the media portrayal and mindset and how we portray what's going on over there. It doesn't feel like action yet. And I guess, I mean, obviously it could escalate to that, but I mean, until something really, really gets out of hand, I think that this is something just like the Cold War. Like everyone was so worried about the Cold War for the longest time. They're like, it's never been as crazy as like the relationship between the U.S. and Russia hasn't been this strained since the Cold War. And it's like, okay, but what happened in the Cold War? Like, yes, the Cuban Missile Crisis happened. Like a few things happened that scared the living crap out of people. But at the end of the day, like, first off, what are you going to do about that? You know what I mean?
Easy, dude.
As citizens, what are you going to do about that? Second off, like,
move to Antarctica. Live as a wilderman.
Yeah, you can do that. But I'm just saying, like as citizens, we have the ability to like support a movement as far as like the Syria thing, because that's something that's a 50-50. Like some people are like, let's help refugees. Other people are like, no, screw refugees. Don't let them in our country. Or like some people are like, we need to bomb them. Some people are like, no, we don't need to bomb them. But I think we can all agree, like, you know, like left and right, or I mean, just in general, like say 40% of Americans think that we need to help refugees, 60% don't, or whatever the numbers are. I think that it's like probably 95 or 99% up. Like, let's keep North Korea from developing nuclear weapons. You know what I mean? Like, those kinds of topics that we can all kind of agree on, I don't get as involved in because I'm like, we all agree that
it's so logical.
It's so logical. Yeah. Like, there's no reason for me to have to devote time and passion to like saying that, we need to protect ourselves from North Korea and the rest of the world. Like, I think everyone agrees on that, but things that are like a toss up, like 50-50, half the people think this, half the people think that. Those are the things that I focus on more.
Well, I just wanted to stray away from you.
I'm just giving you an insight to how I think on it.
I'm just trying to stray away from you just yelling North Korea 1,000 times at me on this podcast.
I won't do that. Now global warming? Don't get started again.
But the other thing that I have a few things. One of the other things, now this happened a while ago, but when it first happened, it just cracked me up. But now another article just came out about it. I don't know if you've heard about this previously, but a Texas man stole $1.2 million worth of fajitas, and now they're finally sentencing him to 50 years in prison.
No.
Oh my God! Yeah, exactly. When you hear that, this man.
When I hear that, dude, it goes one in one ear and out the other, dude.
But just think about that. $1.2 million worth of fajitas.
What does that even mean?
That means
he stole 1.2. He stole 500,000 meals from Chili's.
No. So what happened was he worked at a prison, And he worked the cafeteria schedule, and he would order all the food. And
so over the course of years, he'd slowly
over the
pull
course,
food
I think
away.
it was like 5 years. Well, no, what he would do is he would order separate. The prison never got fucking fajitas. He would order separate fajitas, and then he would get them and just sell them out of the back of his house. But then one day he had a doctor's appointment, and then he missed the pickup, and like 800 pounds of fajitas came to the prison. And the dude's like, what the fuck is this? We don't even serve fajitas. We've never served fucking fajitas. And then they went and looked back, and they saw this dude was doing it forever. But to me, when I hear that, I think this he can see things. Like, to me, I just see fajitas. To this dude, he sees fucking gold, dude. Yeah. He's like, I can sell that shit left and right.
Yeah, some people are very creative with their business.
Dude, how could you ever sell 800?
Remember Kevin the candy guy at Wakaiva?
Yeah. Would that's something like they're very.
He would go to Costco, or I forget what's the other store that he said that he went to. Man, super cheap candy.
It was like Samsung. It was like, I mean, not Samsung. Sam's Club and a bunch of other places like that. Where
but I thought it was like what's the place that's behind Dairy Queen?
Oh, that was U.S. Toys.
U.S. Toys. For some reason, I think he said he went there. But like,
U.S.
Toys had the cheapest candy in town. So we'd go get like a 24-pack of all the sorts of different assorted chocolates for $2.99. He'd sell all of them for $1. He'd sell 3, and the next 21 that he sold were straight profit.
Yeah.
What's someone messaging?
So we got somebody coming in right now asking about 50 years, why so long? That's just a sentence. It was $1.2 million. So it was $1.2 million. And you got to understand, when you go up against, it's not necessarily even a company, but when you're working for a prison, which is a government entity, essentially, I believe this one, I don't think it was privately owned.
They're getting rid of those.
Yeah, of course. They're getting rid of the private prisons. So when you're going up against a government entity like that, and you steal $1.2 million worth of goods from the government, they're going to come at you. Like, I'm sure the judge said, yo, screw you, especially since it was in Texas. Like, they still have like the death penalty, and they're all for it. Like, send him to the front of the line. Like, I'm sure the dude that was the judge was like, yeah, 50 years in prison. And like, imagine that like guy in prison, like he's sitting there in his cell, and the dude's like, yeah, man, like I killed someone, and that's why I'm in here. And then he's like, what'd you get in here for? He's like, dude, I fucking sold a shit ton of fajitas. You know what I mean? And the dude's like, how many years do you got? He's like, well, I'm due up for parole here after 14 years. He's like, for killing someone? He's like, yeah. What about you? He's like, I'm in here for fucking 50 goddamn years. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But yeah. So that was one of the stories that
stole $1.2 million over 9 years.
Over 9 years. Okay, that's what it was. Over 9 years. And but 800 pounds of fajitas coming in that one day, man. Like, this dude just had to have a house made of fajitas. But that was that one. Is there any, you wanted to talk about sports really quick before I get into the other topic that I have?
Yeah, I was just gonna say there was the NFL draft this week.
Oh, yeah. The NFL draft.
So big news. Baker Mayfield went first overall to the Cleveland frickin' Browns. Your team, dude. The Cleveland Browns. They cannot make a pick to save their life. Like, I seriously no longer... I felt bad for them as an organization. And I can say that that was the last straw. Like, I no longer feel bad for them as an organization when they continue to make horrendous after horrendous after horrendous picks. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. Worst case scenario, Baker Mayfield plays for 15 years and wins 5 Super Bowls and 2 MVPs, and I still would say it was a horrendous pick. Like, how many times are you going to go as an organization and pick a quarterback in the first round when you have no O-line, no good receivers? Your top receiver has been in and out of the league the last 2 years because he can't stay off of weed and alcohol and all the stuff that he's banned from using, and you have a decent running back, Isaiah Crowell, but like, guess what? No O-line, like hardly any athletes. You got one good running back, maybe one good receiver. Your defense is terrible, so you're always playing from down. Like, you got to start drafting other guys. Like, look at the Dallas Cowboys the last few years. The Dallas Cowboys started drafting a bunch of O-linemen, and then they got lucky and got Ezekiel Elliott. All of a sudden, they were leading the league in rushing. That's what you do. That's how you build a team. And then they get Dak Prescott in there. It didn't matter if it was Dak Prescott or Tony Romo or Bugs Bunny back there. You hand the ball off, you run the football. The Browns continue to make horrible picks. They took DeShone Kizer, quarterback out of Notre Dame, in the second round last year. So you're going to tell me that you picked a quarterback for your quote-unquote future in the second round, and then a year later you're taking the first overall pick as a quarterback? Like, figure it out. You can't take a first-round quarterback, then a second-round quarterback, then a first-round quarterback in 4 years. Like, you just can't do that. At a certain point, you have to just go, be like the Jets and go get a veteran. Go get Josh McCown. Go get another guy who's been in the league forever and let him get hit in the mouth a few years. Now you bring in Baker Mayfield. If he starts this year, he's going to get hit in the mouth all year long because the O-line's terrible. Like, dude, I know that you don't really understand this as much. You're kind of looking at me blankly.
Hey, dude,
but like,
I'm going to tell you right now, man.
The people that understand sports, like, this is such a bad pick.
I don't understand. I don't understand football at fucking all. But I'll tell you one thing about the Cleveland Browns. This is the only thing that I know. They're fucking consistent, dude. They're consistently shitty. That's all that matters to me.
They were decent a few years ago. They went like 8-8, like 3 years ago. I forgot who their coach was. Gus, I forget. Bald guy. But they had Brian Hoyer at quarterback, and I mean, they were decent, man. Decent. And then my cousin's best friend, Austin Davis, was a quarterback for like a game or two. But this is when they had Johnny Football. So they go and get Johnny Football in the first round a few years ago, and his career implodes. So then they go get Baker Mayfield, same kind of dude. Heisman Trophy winner. They're both short. They're both like 5'10", 5'11". Yeah. Listen, they're identical players. Both short. Both had run-ins off the field issues. Baker Mayfield got arrested like over a year ago. Got thrown down the street, got suspended, had all these issues, got like suspended and like penalized by his team. Like he wasn't allowed to go be his captain and stuff. Remember, weren't you telling me this? They're like, remember the guy
fuck was I
that brought
you?
That the guy brought their jersey out? Don't you remember that for Oklahoma? They're like, yeah, they suspended the kid. He couldn't go to the coin toss, so they brought his jersey out, and you were like, yeah, they're acting like he's dead, but really he just couldn't come to the coin toss.
No, dude.
I remember that as someone else? Okay,
I
thought it was you.
Else.
I could have swore it was you.
No, I'm
going to tell you. Just tell me about stupid aspects of sports, like how ridiculous it was.
That's the only part of sports that I fucking like.
Yeah.
Is the stupid
anyway, so this guy had off the field issues. Like, great numbers, but, like, it's literally identical to Johnny Football. I'm like, look what happened 4 years ago with Johnny Football. Now you're going to do the same thing and draft the same kind of guy? They could have got the best non-quarterback player in the draft with their first overall pick. Instead, they go quarterback. This kid could be a bust. I mean, yeah, he could be good, sure. Like, they've had 18 or 30 quarterbacks in the last 10 years. Like, good luck with this being the guy that's going to save the day. Like,
so
your organization around him sucks. So, anyways, so that was a bad pick.
Before you keep going with that, so we have somebody asking us a question.
What is it?
And they want to know who's the best quarterback to us at the moment. I'm going to tell you right now, it's John fucking Elway. Because I don't know any quarterbacks.
John Elway works for the Denver Broncos. He's like the president of football operations.
Yeah, he doesn't play football anymore. That's the only quarterback I know. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers the best.
That's the only person that I know.
Easily the best, dude. And so fun to watch. Just so talented.
And he's dating Danica Patrick. So I mean,
is he really?
Yeah.
I thought he was married to Olivia Munn.
He's definitely dating Danica Patrick. So he's dating a NASCAR driver.
Oh, maybe they just got engaged. It says Olivia Munn and Aaron Rodgers.
But yeah, I don't.
They split up.
Other than that, I don't. Other than Aaron Rodgers, what's his face from the Patriots?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. I don't know.
I love Ben Roethlisberger. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm biased, but like, if you're gonna say he's not top 5 in the league, like, you're crazy. Like, he's obviously top 5 in the league. He has 2 Super Bowls. Like, he's been consistent for 10 years. Like, he's one of the best quarterbacks. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers, and
then Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah,
easily Jimmy Clausen and Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't know that much about fucking football.
No, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers. Has to be.
So
he's a stud.
Can we? I'm gonna move on from sports.
But one other thing, the guy with nub for a hand, or like didn't have a hand.
That's really cool.
Got drafted from UCF.
That's really cool because isn't his? I think
Shaquem Griffin.
Yeah.
And his brother he got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, and his brother plays for the Seattle Seahawks.
Isn't that like his twin or something? I forget what that.
No, I think his other brother's a little bit older.
Okay, something like that.
But they're brothers.
He doesn't have a hand. He's a linebacker.
He ran like a 4.38 40-yard dash. Like, dude.
With left, is he the left hand? I don't think he doesn't have a left hand. I think he has a right hand. But he made he made an interception and he made a fumble. So I mean, yeah. That's an inspirational story right there.
Yeah, and I mean, people were like, he should have got drafted earlier and whatever, and like, it sucks that like he doesn't have a hand because you would like to have your linebackers with a full range of motion. But like, especially if he's going to be like an outside rusher or something. Like, dude, some of these guys that break their hand, they literally like now they put a cast on it and then they wrap it up. Like, there's so many guys, mostly defensive linemen typically, but they're like safeties have played with it before when they have a broken hand. They wrap it up and they have like just basically like a club hand. Like, you could either let him play with just his small, it's kind of like a nub. I don't think he has any fingers or anything, but he has a full extension to a wrist. So he has full range of motion with a whole, but they could build on like a extension for him so that he has more range with that. But either way, I mean, it's a great story, and it was huge to see him get drafted. I think he went in the 5th round to Seattle. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty inspirational.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so many kids, I mean, they did like a little ESPN short on him, and then like how inspirational that is to all the youth, but I mean, younger athletes that are still like teenagers or younger even younger like kids that like maybe don't have an arm or don't have a leg or whatever. Well, I mean, so inspirational to those kids.
So it's really pretty inspirational that he made it to the league. But I mean, like, we've played with kids that have like birth defects or like one leg, one arm. Like the guy was a pitcher from a local high school. And he didn't have a hand, and he would like I forget how he would pitch. Like he would have the glove. He would hold the glove like down on his
throw,
arm,
and then as soon as he threw it, he'd slide,
and then slide the glove in. And he literally, I saw him make a play before, like ground ball, got it, like took glove off, got the ball out, and threw it to first, and got the guy out. And that shit's cool like that.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. He fucked up if all you guys did was try to bunt on him all day.
Yeah, I mean, but he still could get you out. So like,
so you really wouldn't want to.
So cool. The next thing I want to talk to you. So this is an old thing, but I guess this also, in regards to this sentence just occurred, in regards to autopilot and Tesla over in the UK. I guess an individual decided to put the car in autopilot and then sit in the passenger seat going like 60 miles an hour, and they just sentenced him to 18 months of no driving and like a $1,800 or $3,600 fine. Some guy was taking a video of him, but to me, like, okay, yeah, that's reckless driving. Don't get me wrong. Like, these are still, like, we've talked about autopilot before in Tesla. Like, it's still in the works. Like, this is a phase. Like, you still need to be sitting in that car, even if it's on autopilot or if you can use autopilot. But to me, that just shows like how advanced it is. Yeah. This person got in the fucking passenger seat, going 60 miles an hour. Nobody's in the front seat, and it just took him to where he was going, which is super cool. But again, like, reckless driving, I mean, I get that. I understand that, especially with what occurred like last time with that Uber driver here in America. But at the same time, it shows just how advanced they're going. Like, it's crazy to me what's going on. Like, dude, autonomy is going to be here soon. This is crazy.
Of course. So, yeah, it's nuts.
Like, at the end of the day, put him in jail or disband his license, revoke it. But shit, dude, if that was me, like, if I was the guy next to him, like, watching it happen, I would be like, I wouldn't send it to the police. I wouldn't be an asshole saying, hey, look at this guy. Like, screw this guy. I'd be like,
safety.
I'd roll down my window and be like, that's super dope. That's super cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're also a clown.
You're a clown. And then going forward with that, just to show more progress and show movement forward, another thing that just occurred was in Stockton, California. It's the movement of the millennials. I guess it was during, this is fucking politics again. I don't want to get into politics, but regardless of the politics, I want to talk about like what the guy's doing. I think he's 28 years old. He's the mayor of Stockton, which I think has a 307,000 population. And he beat out the previous mayor back during when Trump got elected during that same time. And he's trying to like move the city forward. And like previously they were in debt, like the city was in complete debt because what they tried to do, and it makes sense. What the city tried to do was to make it lavish, to make it eye appealing, I guess. And instead of like putting money into the pockets of the locals, of the people there, they basically put money into building different like extravagant things. I think they built like a yacht club, like an extravagant yacht club So they went to debt, like they went bankrupt, I think, actually. And so this guy, 27-year-old mayor, I forget his name, what his name is. Can you look that up really quick? What he did was he decided to move forward in regards to the UBI movement, and he's going to be experimenting with the UBI, which is Universal Basic Income.
Michael Tubbs?
Yeah, that's the guy, Michael Tubbs. He's going to be experimenting it with 100 residents of Stockton, California, and they're going to be receiving, I think it's $500 a week in regards to universal basic income, because what he wants to see move forward is the people need to be like, you can't just force things all the time. You can't just force it to happen. The people that live in that area, the locals that live in the certain area, like, they're the ones that need to fucking make shit, and they're the ones that need to progress things forward. And like, if they don't have any money to do so, then they're just going to be stagnated. And if you just put money into useless shit, like, yeah, cool, that's cool, but at the end of the day, the people that still live in that city are broke. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, if they're the ones that like move forward and they're like progressing and they're like, we're going to build this, we're going to do this, we have money to do this, I'm going to sit here and create something myself, I have some money. Like, that's super cool. And this is the first attempt, I believe, in the U.S. where they're going to experiment with the universal basic income. And it's super cool to me that the guy's 27 years old, I think it is.
26 or 27. Yeah.
26, 27. It's super cool to me that a millennial is the one that's taking over and that's actually doing it. And, I mean, like, it's amazing that the people that are still in the office over there, I think they're like 69 years old, they're allowing it to happen. Some of the people still don't like it because they have that older mentality. But to me, dude, universal basic income is going to make fucking sense in the coming future. We might as well experiment with it now rather than wait till, like, what is it that you always say to me? America, or like, we're a reactive
society.
Yeah. And
I say the world in general, not just
but
America, but the world. But yeah, especially in America, we're reactive. We're a reactive society rather than proactive.
Yeah. And so, but this is taking a proactive approach.
Definitely.
And basically
small scale, but still good.
Of course, it's a small scale, but still implementing that and experimenting with something like that you can see in the coming future that there could be a potential that shit might fucking go to AI technology. Like, you might as well experiment it with now until it gets too late. You know what I mean? Like, what's the negative side of that? The negative side of that is that, like, you didn't get picked to be the 100th person to be in that experiment, and you didn't get fucking $500 a week. That's the only negative side. You know what I mean? So we'll see what the experiment does, but like, stuff like that makes me happy and makes me optimistic about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's way better to do things like that than steal fucking $1.2 million of fajitas, dude. Way better to do shit like that. What else, man? Is there anything else that you read recently in the news that you wanted to talk about that you thought was cool? You have nothing, dude. You're one of those people that I'm fucking talking about that aren't fucking up to date with current events.
I read headlines and stuff, but nothing like all that interesting, man.
Well, I mean, the stuff that I read is fucking, I read still like boring ass shit. Like, it's not necessarily like relevant. Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the fucking shit with like Kanye West and fucking Donald Trump. Like, that shit's dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're getting some actual information. Thank you for this. We can use wax paper in regard to the lighting in the room. Getting some individuals' feedback on how we can actually resolve that. Thank you so much.
To do what?
Basically soft lighting, so we can like use wax paper to remove these shadows behind us. Like, mine looks super dope because it's me. You look ugly as fuck over there. Your shadow just looks horrendous. But yeah, we'll do something like that. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that Kanye West.
Donald Trump was telling a U.S. senator he needs to resign.
Yeah, John
Tester.
That's another day here in America. You know what I mean? That's not anything that's really crazy. Did I talk about this last time with you? That there was a potential suicide attempt on a bus. I mean, on a bridge this past week. And
there's a big merger going on. Sprint T-Mobile.
Oh shit! I did want to talk about that, but first, before we get into that, because that shit's fucked up. I wanted to say, like, this is another cool thing, positive, trying to be positive, because I always talk about the negative fucking shit in here. Yeah. It's sort of negative because, I mean, like, someone was trying to take their life, which is terrible. It's always terrible to hear something like that. But I guess what happened was the police called in semi-trucks to assist. And they've had it in the past where, like, a semi-truck would show up and then they were able to calm the guy down. But this one, like, was so prolonged that the entire bridge underneath was a semi-truck every part. And so basically they were all lined up on the bridge so the guy couldn't jump off. So, like, if he jumped off, he would jump, like, 6 feet and land on a semi-truck. Which, dude, I didn't know they did shit like that.
What do you mean? Like,
so, like, there's a bridge, an overpass. The highway's coming under this bridge.
Oh.
And, like, the semi-trucks came and parked underneath it.
I thought you were talking about, like, a bridge, like, in the
water.
Like
the fucking golden... Oh, that's the Golden Gate Bridge? Yeah. Dude, they found the Golden Gate... Was it Golden Gate Killer? What is his name?
Golden State Killer.
Golden State serial killer. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's an ex-police officer.
After so many years, I forget how many years. Shit's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I didn't even look into the details on that. I don't know how they found him. How did they do it? DNA.
Yeah, it was DNA that they were able to find out who he was.
Crazy.
But yeah, dude, I wanted to get into that Sprint merger. Sprint and T-Mobile is merging here in America.
Big.
Which is fucking huge because at the moment we have 4 major quote unquote telecom or wireless communication companies.
Yeah.
4 major ones. So yeah, there's minor ones, but like they're really not fucking minor ones. Like, and now it's going to be knocked down from 4 to 3.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how we like let things like this happen. Like we pass. It's not a monopoly. Oh yeah, okay, cool. It's a fucking such a big oligopoly that it doesn't even fucking matter. You might as well just lump it into a monopoly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that shit's fucked up and we don't do anything about it. I feel like the people could do, like us, we should realize that and like do something about it because then they can just fuck us. It's just like with cable companies, like it's not a monopoly because they, there's a lot of them, but in a certain area, there's only one cable company. It's like, that's a monopoly specific to that area. And they raise rates and it's like, I don't want to pay these rates. And like, all right, well then you don't fucking get anything. Like, what do you want? It's the same kind of concept that's happening here. Like, you can't let shit like that happen. Like, I understand, like, don't get me wrong, dude, success is great. And that's good for those people. Like, they're doing that. But at the end of the day, somebody got to step in and say, hey, I think that's fucked up, and we should dwindle it back a little bit. Like, good for you guys doing success and doing what you're doing, but maybe you should diversify, move into different aspects where, like, you're not a major player into it and stuff like that. But to just let it happen, well, it hasn't happened. Like, the merger hasn't happened. They've said that the merger, they've divvied up the numbers and how the merger is going to play out. Now they're proceeding to bring it to the system, the court system, the SEC, to approve that merger.
Yeah.
So if that merger gets approved, which to me, I don't think it should. I honestly don't think a merger like that should occur. But at the end of the day, is it? Probably not. So a person's asking us, how should we safeguard against the oligopoly? And so that was one of the things that I was just trying to talk about is like, I feel like
vote for Bernie Sanders.
No, I don't think so. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily political. I think it can be. It really fucking can be. But I also think that it's the consumers are also the ones that are dictating this oligopoly.
Dude, because you need a cell phone. What are you gonna use?
No, of course. But like they give their money and they're like, oh yeah, sure, here you go. I'm not gonna do anything. And then like as they give more and more money, these people become more and more relevant. They're the only ones there. Instead, like if we fucked ourselves and like in the past, somebody should have realized, hey, we shouldn't like give you money towards this. Like somebody else can create this and like have someone else create it. Like in today's era, like so many people can create cell phones and a wireless network, but they're not going to do it because the barriers to entry in that industry are so fucking significant. There's no fucking point, but it's simplistic for somebody, of course, not for me, not for you, to build that if they're actually educated in that space. But I mean, yeah, at this moment, all you can really say is, hey, government, we need your fucking assistance because that, like I said, the consumers now, it's taken out of their hands. Like previously, I think like we should have stepped back and said, hey, like this is fucked up. Like we're not going to give you our money. get some small people put towards like these smaller companies, because I'm sure there were smaller companies back then, but they got acquired by the larger market, and say, no, we're not gonna give your money here, we're gonna fund these guys, and then like try and even out the playing field. But the consumers fucked themselves, and then now at this point, it's basically the only entity that can assist is the government to come in and stop a merger like this happening. Like say, hey, that shit's not going to happen. I mean, what are your thoughts? Is there any way that you think that we could safeguard against an oligopoly like that?
Not in the specific market, no. I mean, everyone needs a cell phone so dang bad. I mean, it's the same thing with the actual cell phones themselves, like Android, iPhone, Samsung. I mean, you're going to buy these cell phones are the best. Like, no one's going to go buy a BlackBerry anymore, or a flip phone, or a Nokia, or a Razor. Like,
exactly. That's where I feel like the consumers fell out. Like, they fucked themselves. Like, I'm saying, like, it could have like, you could easily build a cell phone on your own today in today's aspect. But since the barriers of entry are so large, nobody's going to fucking do that. But, I mean, well, why not? Like, we should say, hey, let that dude build that. Like, let him do that, and let's fund that guy and take our money and let him fucking run with it.
It's a whole system thing, man.
Of course, it's
the whole capitalistic system, dude, that's set up that way to help out large corporations.
But I mean, in the future,
we work for large corporations and get a small check.
Yeah, but in the future, I mean, like I said, the same thing could play out just like the fucking cable companies, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna raise your rate from $100 to $170, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, who are you gonna go to? And at this point, like, if you talked about that in like the telecommunications industry, you're like, what provider are you gonna go to?
Yeah, but they still
Verizon.
They still have to compete.
Yeah, fucking right.
Even though it's an oligopoly, they still have to compete pretty consistently against each other, and they do incentivize you to leave, because when you have a cell phone, a telecommunications provider, you're pretty likely to stay pretty loyal to that person unless something crazy happens. I mean, people just get on, like, I'm with AT&T, just with AT&T, here we go, we're rocking and rolling. Like, Verizon would pay big bucks to pull me away as a customer.
Yeah,
they put a lot of money into stealing, because that's all it is. The entire market's already saturated, so the only way that you gain new customers is by stealing them from someone else.
Yeah, of course,
within the marketplace.
But
so they still have to stay relatively competitive.
You say that sense. But that's in regards to stealing. What about people that are steadfast in those different providers? Like, how many people do you think on average that an actual provider steals from a different provider on a yearly basis?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Exactly.
I don't think it's a lot. And I think what's going to occur is that if a service is so good, say, I think Verizon is number one. I want to say Verizon
and AT&T are 1 and 2 and everything.
Whatever
but
it is.
Verizon's probably one.
But if their service is so good and they're like, well, you're going to pay more for a better service, or like, I'm going to bump my price up. And then another provider sees that all these people are still paying that amount of money to that fucking provider. They're like, well, like, we want to have that kind of money come in too. Like, we're going to bump our prices up to match that Verizon. Like, the only other option we have is to say, hey, come to us, we're a cheaper price. But those people, like I said, that are steadfast are like, yeah, but it's a better service. Like, I don't give a shit. The only way that they're going to look at it is say, well, we're just going to bump our prices up too, so that we can be in that competitive range, and then so on and so forth. Well, not so on and so forth. Fucking third, Sprint and T-Mobile bump up their prices. Like, I can see that happening easily, and it's fucked up. Shit like that's fucked up. And at the end of the day, like, the government's going to have to come and regulate this. The government's going to have to do something, because the free market, like us, like the people, it's out of our hands now. We fucked it up. We fucked it up. We dropped the fucking ball. It's not the fucking first time that we did that, but oh well. So is there anything else? Any other news that you saw that was newsworthy recently? The oldest spider in the oldest spider in the world that was in Australia died a couple weeks ago. It was 43 years old. Wasp killed it. That's the only other news that I had.
The White House Correspondents' Dinner was last night. Bill Cosby got.
Oh yeah, those are so fucking serious. Like the Bill Cosby, like that's a touchy subject. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm just saying, it was news this week. He was found guilty.
No, yeah. He was found guilty. But yeah, I'm glad that spider died. That's all I fucking got left. Is there anything? Anything else? Anything at all? Are you gonna be back tomorrow?
Tuesday.
You're not gonna come tomorrow for the Amazon one? I'm doing it tomorrow with Dustin and Tori.
I have a baseball game.
Okay, I'll do it with them. We're gonna do a round table, so I did get extra mics, and we're gonna start doing that. And then Tuesday, nice. Mitch is gonna come over, and we're gonna do a ghost story podcast, quote unquote. Nice. I know you don't have any fucking ghost stories, but it's gonna be super sick. Real. Dude, I'm gonna have a bonfire here in the middle of the
Let's do
floor.
it. We're gonna have s'mores.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking bring out some s'mores, and then hopefully what occurs is like I accidentally light the whole house on fire, get it on fucking live stream, viral hit instantly, bam, just like that. But yeah, we're gonna have that on Tuesday. So that's it for this episode. We're gonna be doing nonsense news every Sunday, so fucking research some shit, be up to date on current events, Gregory over there. Okay. I'm always over here fucking talking out of my fucking ass about this shit. But thank you for listening, and we will be back tomorrow on a live stream on Twitch. We'll be going over Amazon on a roundtable discussion and how messed up that shit is too, in our perspective. And then Tuesday, like I said, I'll be back here with Greg and Mitch. We're going to do Ghost Stories podcast. And then if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, you can always follow us at SnakeFang Pod. Or if you guys want to follow us on Instagram to get some behind-the-scenes photos from the #1 photographer in the entire world, you can follow us at SnakeFang Podcast. And then if you guys want to send us an email for any upcoming episodes that you want to hear or topics that you want to hear, you can send us an email at snakefangpodcast@gmail.com. And that is about it. Gregory, any last words from you?
Nope.
Good.
Sounds good.
Tired of hearing your fucking voice. Good. All right, you guys. We will catch you later.